Hi everyone, how's it going? As you can see, I got myself a new doll. Well, actually, it was gifted by my mother, and this is a interesting doll because it got a lot of attention on social media, and yeah, and well, originally my mum bought it for me, so you can thank my mum. But this is actually a autistic Barbie, and it's the first of its kind. Actually, it's the first kind of autistic kind of doll. Kind of like made doll, especially for children with autism. And so I bought this doll for £10. Actually, I think it was originally £15 or something like that on the retail price. But you can buy this doll in Argos or on John Lewis for a good price actually, or Entertainer. But John Lewis, but Argos sold out. So this is the so I bought it from John Lewis. I actually ordered it and picked it up from a local Waitrose. So this is the box it came with. So it came in this quite simple box. So she came in a simple box, and it's got the organization that Mattel worked with, which is the ASN, ASNN, ASNN, which is the Autistic Self Advocacy Network. I believe this is an American organization. We do have one in the UK called the Autistic Society, and I have been there once. I worked with a worker or volunteer. So I worked with a volunteer and worker, and that was during uni times. And yeah, it was like I can't remember. I was just like going through things and stuff like that. But yeah, I have been worked with or one anyway. So yes, so this is how it is. You've got different Barbies, and it's a very simple box, nothing much. And you're probably thinking, why did I buy this doll? Well, my mom bought it for me, but yeah, the reason why it got my interest because I'm autistic myself. I was diagnosed clinically autistic in I was 4 years old, so I don't know how I kind of well, my mom told me how it went around. Basically, I was had problems with communication. I had issues early signs were around was a nursery. So I had notable signs around nursery, and they referred me to a special or the doctor's GP referred me to a specialist. I want mom to a specialist and work with a nurse as well. And I think a specialist got talked to a specialist, and they diagnosed me with autism. Sorry. So around 4 years old, I was diagnosed with autism, and I was also diagnosed with other disabilities as well. So with autism, you also accompany sometimes not all the time, but sometimes it's other disabilities accompanied with autism. Sometimes with motion, sometimes speech and language difficulties, sometimes with ADHD as well. So sometimes it comes with other things. So yes, I have autism with other disabilities as well. I don't normally talk about my disability. I mean, I never really talked about it because I felt like I want to talk about it because I got this doll and I want to share it, and it kind of makes sense why this will kind of relate to me because as someone who's been diagnosed with autism since 4 years old and growing up with autism and having special needs. I had special needs at school, and yeah, really tough. This is around the 90s, so things obviously must have changed now for kids with disabilities, and especially with special needs. But when I was growing up, I struggled, and I did have special needs. I think I had to move school because of my special needs. I was originally, for the first 8 years I was in this private school, we didn't have special needs thing, so I had to move to one that specialised in special needs. Yeah, and I did had a speech and language therapist throughout my high school, up to primary and high school. So I had a speech and therapist, and she normally was trying to teach me how to, I can't remember, it's all blur now, but I remember having speech and therapy sessions. And I did also get additional testing and examinations, especially for hearing, because they thought I was it hearing, had difficulties hearing, which wasn't really my hearing was fine. It's just that I just couldn't comprehend, because I remember I had other disabilities. In fact, I'll say that I had learning difficulties and dyslexia. So the learning difficulties obviously had a massive impact, like speech comprehension, understanding and things, and yeah. So yeah. I'm a little bit nervous talking about it because I don't normally like to talk about, because I feel like for me it was a slight stigma for many years, and I feel like, am I jumping on a bandwagon? No, I'm not. I lived with this. I lived with this since childhood and struggled in childhood. So yeah, something that I had to cope with throughout my life, really. I think having a strong support and having a strong support from my parents was major key in having a strong support as well. So yeah, so this is why my mother felt when she saw the doll, because the way I got around to it, because I was watching this video about this other who specialised in talking about autism and autism interpretation, but basically she covered this doll. She did a massive, quite a long video talking about the controversial side of it, and the studies and all that. So basically, it got a lot of people talking, and so she covered a lot of basics. And so I finished watching that, and I showed it to my mum, and she's like, my mum was a bit shocked at first, and then when she saw it, she was like, "Oh, I'll buy it for you." So she bought it for me. And I was like, "Yeah, why not? New doll." Oh, yeah, I'm a sucker for new dolls, am I? Like I said, I'm also a doll collector, so it kind of makes sense. But now seeing her now, she was absolutely pretty. She looks really lovely. Oops. So let's see her fully. So yeah, she's got really nice clothing. She's a very simple doll. She can't bend her legs. I wish, why Mattel? Like, give her bendy legs so she can sit down. But she can sit, like, quite comfortably. But she can't bend her legs, which is a shame, really. She's got nice hair. I noticed her hair is slightly jagged, and I think this is purposely done. Normally dog collectors will be fussy about hair, but this was intentional, because I think autistic people sometimes have messy hair, or hair that's... See, look at my hair, for example. I hardly comb my hair. So this was intentional to have that kind of uneven hair, I guess. She wears ear cancellations, headphones, or ear muffs or headphones, you like to call it. Now, not all autistic people wear headphones. I don't wear headphones when I'm out and about, for good reason, because I live in a city and I need my wits around me. But I do sometimes have to put them on because it gets too much. The sound and the noise gets too much. And I am very noise sensitive. Like, there are times where I actually go under the bridge and I have to cover my ears because it's too much, because I don't like sudden noises. I don't like alarms. I don't like loud noises that are bad. I just hate it. It really upsets my whole system. I mean, I didn't like it when I was in school with so much loud kids. Like, everyone was loud. And the thing is that they're always like, "Oh no, you should put, we're trying to include everyone in." But sometimes some kids can't mix, You can't mix some kids in, because some kids don't understand that child's got autism or very sensitive to the environment. But, so she's got ear muffs. So like I said, not all autistic people wear ear muffs, but that's quite not a classic sign, but, it's because it's the oversensory with the noises. And so sometimes I do wear them, but it's not those ones. It'll be... I do have I have inner ear ones that have noise cancellation, and it just cuts off, it drains out the noise completely, and it actually really helps. but I don't wear it all the time. But that's quite classic. So are very hypersensitive to that. She also got a fidget spinner, and this is another thing that my mum also bought because she thought, oh, you use fidget stuff, and I do have my own, so I bought this one to prove the point. So this is my very own one, but I actually don't use fidget spinners because I was autistic. I just thought, I guess because it actually, I like using them because it does, like, where it is, I actually was using it to distract myself from biting my nails, which I did used to do a lot as a kid. So they're kind of a replacement to stress, but this is quite manky and yeah. So I guess it's for kids who are this is like to help with the help with the sensory, and the fidgeting. But it's not just exclusive for autistic. It could be someone like managing their stress or like I like the cooking sound, or just to calm their nerves down or something like that. Or maybe like if they're irritated, they can use the fidget spinner as well. So it could be something like, because it's something that you can use to calm yourself down. So according to her dress, it is very nice. I like this lilac lavender kind of. I like lavender. I think it's a very good choice of color they chose. So very nice color. It's very calming as well. So it's very nice calming color. But I would have thought she would wear trousers. But it's elegant. I like it. And she's got lovely purple shoe. So overall, very lovely. Her face is very lovely as well. I think it's very lovely face. I like the fact that she looks normal. Like she doesn't look too, I don't know, it's not that, I think she looks very lovely. They said that her eyes divert, which is classic, which is also another thing that I do as well. I don't normally like looking at people directly. I don't even like showing my face on camera. I'm very camera shy, but I especially don't like looking at people directly. It's good that her arms can bend and move. So it does feel like a good doll. So it's nice to play with. It'd be great for kids with autism because I think something that they can relate to as well. And they can, have a friend, I guess, that is autistic because, it is a social struggle being autistic, trust me. So it's a very social struggle. Now she does have I don't know what it's called, but she's got this board tablet thing, as you can see, but it's got like words and icons and symbols. So I've done the full name, but it's kind of like a communication device. Now you can get one that is paper, so one with paper or one with a tablet, or you can download it on the iPad. I have briefly looked at it, and it's something that speech and therapy, used for speech and therapy. So it's more for people like who've got a stroke, who can't communicate, or like very selective mutism. Someone who maybe has speech and language difficulties, like myself. Like I could have benefited this, but I didn't have this. And what you do, it's a way of communicating through. So if you want to say you want to eat, you just punch the icon says eat or something like that. So it's saying that not all will use that, but some of the severe spectrum, especially if they have additional disabilities, might have to use that. So it's very hard to put on there. It's very hard to. There you go. So she holds it like that, and this is her way of communicating as well. Because autism is hard to. It's very hard, like communication-wise and comprehension-wise, very hard. So I did struggle with communication for a long time. In fact, I didn't properly communicate till I was about 20. But I struggled. I didn't like talking to people. I tried to avoid even going to the post office or doing things that required me to communicate and get and to converse because I knew I'm going to mess up. So it's something that I would feel that I'm gonna mess up all the time. And that's the thing, it's like that stigmatization that I'm gonna mess up or people are gonna look at me weirdly. So it's something that I had to try and find to cope with. So yeah, it's been, I hope, now there is a kind of like a trend going on where everyone's coming out, they're autistic or they've got autism. And I'm a little bit worried that it's becoming like a trend, like a fashion trend, like a trendy thing. It shouldn't be, because I know what autism feels like, because I lived with it. And it's not that glamorous. It's quite, there are some difficulties surrounding it, like sensitivity difficulties. I do need a lot of support. Like I said, I've got additional disability, but I do need a lot of support. And I still sometimes feel like if I do mention it, people might look at me weirdly or I get mocked. Because also revealing it also gives the opportunity for people to bully you and mock you as well. So that's why I keep things in, to prevent, further problems, So it's something that I struggle with. But if I had this doll as a kid, this 100%, because I know my mum would travel far and wide to find me appropriate toys. Back in the 90s, she got me these, a doll's house was called Tights. And they had a white family. My mum would, and she noticed that there was a black family or ethnic family. So she looked at every catalogue and brochure, called up every toy store, and dragged me and my brother outside of London to get those dolls. That's how my mum is. Very one of those parents that wants to make sure that I got a range of dolls that I can associate with, I can identify with. So if this doll is this, my mum would 100% got it, and that's why she bought it. She's like, yeah, this is a doll, and she really was impressed with this doll as well. She really thinks it's really lovely, and I think she's really lovely too. I think the controversy of surrounding it does dampen it a little bit, but I think but if you hold this doll and interact with it, you kind of feel like, yeah, this is great. This is like a friend now, like a friend you can interact with, and also open up to your own struggles and disabilities, like your own struggles. So it's something that I think is more positive than negative. I don't think it's stereotyping. I think it's just key elements about autism, but I don't think it's stereotyping at all. I mean, it doesn't mean that she can wholly be autistic, no. But I think it's something that, because she's autistic, it's something that the kids can relate to and understand. It's kind of more educational, I say, an educational doll rather than a doll that is more for fun. One thing that obviously when I was watching that video and that girl that she mentioned is that there's no booklet or no explanation about autism, which I think that's a key point. I think if they had a little explanation about it in the box, even just the back or even the side, I think it would have made it much more approachable. But I think they just said Barbie and that organization. So obviously they consulted a lot of people with autism, massive, obviously a group of people, and obviously the organization to work with developing this doll, making this doll. They did one for Down syndrome, and they did one for diabetes, type 1 diabetes, and another one, yeah. So this is the first ones, and I believe there's going to be more to come. There might be a male autistic one or another version. And yeah, she's really lovely. I think she also reminds me of myself as well. I guess it's kind of like the relation. But yeah, I think there'll be more. If this goes well, maybe Mattel might produce more types of autistic dolls, not just one, because I think everyone's pinning down on this one main doll. And I think, give room time to make more dolls in the future, so that more kids can have a variety of autistic dolls with different, ethnicities and race and maybe different styles perhaps. But I think this is a good first one. So I don't think this is the last one, in my personal opinion. I don't think she's the definitive style or definitive. She's like the main person that represents all autistic people. No, it's like not even like I say. I'm hoping that there'll be more, because I think, and I hope that they can give her bendy legs. I don't like it, but yeah, she's actually very pretty. I'm glad I picked her. I'm glad my mom bought it for me and I just got it. And yeah, she's very pretty. For me to open up and talk about this, it's quite a big feat for me because I don't like to be one of those people that talk about just because it's like trendy now. I'm very guarded at my, because like I said, every time I mention things, I kind of feel like it was a slight stigma growing up. And probably that's why I have to cover my face and have, because, and sometimes why I sometimes struggle to talk. Like even talking now, sometimes I have to think hard about what I'm talking about. But when it comes to the autistic aspect of it, yeah, socializing. Even when I went out today and I was struggling. I mean, just being in crowds and struggling a little bit, but I managed to cope. So yeah, I hope the now there's more awareness. I hope things get better, especially for children. But getting diagnosis for autism is very hard, especially now again, because you need an actual specialist to diagnose you, and to get it for the GP waiting list and is very costly as well. Not everyone can afford it, basically, and this is why celebrities can quickly get diagnosed because they can actually afford it. Whereas for me, for someone like, they had to be quite severe, like what I had, or they have to put money to it. But basically, I basically wasn't totally free getting speech therapists and get examinations and getting a referral to a specialist. I was quite lucky to get referred quite young actually, especially when I was 4. And yeah, and I think also that the more they diagnose people, is the more likelihood that people have to be on benefits, like especially disability benefits. And I think that's the way that they don't want to diagnose too many people. There is a theory around that as well. So it's not I mean, they say that, yeah, but they're not really, how do they really support people who really need it? I was just, 90s. Less people, I guess, less. And obviously, I had a lot of difficulties, and I remember they said I did strange things. Like I wasn't interacting with kids, like younger kids. I hardly talk. I had selective mutism up to about 7 or 5. About between. I had severe selective mutism when I was young. I started talking more around 8, properly, but I didn't hardly talk to anyone. I hardly talked. So that's why I'm saying my speech and language was really poor those days. But it does improve, and I think you just gotta work on it. It does improve over years. So, for right now in my 30s, I'm fine. I'm actually doing really well, but I still would need a lot of help sometimes in certain areas. But in my 30s, I'm doing really well, and I'm finding ways of coping. I'm finding ways of, maybe I would consider getting not necessarily these headphones, but more like those loop ones, so you can it just lowers the decibels a bit of the outside. It is noisy living in the city. Living in London, there's so much cars and sirens, so sometimes I don't know, I just coped really. But yeah, I think I talked much about this doll and also about me. But yeah, it's a really lovely doll. Oh yeah, I just want to mention that some people with autism have other, like I said, motion skill problems and some things like that. So that's why I like to mention that as well. But I think this is a really lovely doll. It's a lovely doll, very elegant. I think it's a good first doll for autistic doll. And yeah, I think it's more positive than negative. I think, it's something that I think could be positive for kids, especially for children with autism. So I think it's a more positive than a negative thing. I understand that Mattel has their own, bias, that they're trying to make money as business. They're not really a charity. They're not like if there's another, if like the autistic organization designed a doll, it wouldn't go far as as a established toy maker company like Mattel. So I think Mattel is doing some good actually, making dolls much more diverse, and making dolls that children can connect to. I mean, we don't know what other dolls they might make. I mean, they already made like type 1 diabetes doll, which is quite interesting. But it seemed to make a positive impact on people, a lot, even just normal kids, but making a positive impact. So I think it's a positive thing than a negative. I think the dramas are blown a little bit. I think. I guess some people are going to be like, nah, and some people are like, yay, but nah. But I like this simplicity. In fact, I'll say, she's fine. I don't know about the pattern, but she's fine. She's got, and like you said, you can customize her, you can give her different clothing and stuff like that. Like, I would have given her plaits. Yeah, give her plaits, but I actually like her like that. But yeah, she really does remind me of myself, to be honest. And I guess she reminds me of myself and how, of like, yeah, you acknowledge that you are autistic. Yeah. And it's a positive doll. And I definitely would have related to this doll when I was a kid. I mean, related to it now as an adult, but yeah, it's a nice doll. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. What's your views about this doll? I think I covered much and my first impressions of it. I think it's a good price as well. So if you can buy it, even if you're interested, but I think it's a positive doll. I think it's a very positive doll. I think nothing wrong with it, to be honest. Like, it doesn't feel like. I think because I don't know, maybe she looks a bit more like me, so I guess she does relate well. But yeah, really lovely doll. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Took a while to find my feet on this long and winding street. Now I'm striding into sun. My new chapter has begun, embracing all the gentle grace with a soft smile on my face. I know just where I'm meant to be.